So we're at our so-called town hall, or let's call it community gathering, campus. We're on the campus, let's say. And I hope that everybody else will show. Can we see everybody else? How does that work?
Not on
Not
this
on
round
this, all right,
table.
not on this round table.
I think
Okay.
our responsibility is to wrap up everything we drank through the finals over the last 72 hours into pithy nuggets of insights that we've drawn from the conference, and then we go for the gala party.
I stand corrected, but I think we can do that pretty quickly because we will have a chance to gather again at the gala. And there's nothing worse than three talking heads trying to entertain a group that's not well seen. But I'm glad, Ed, you're back on. Stay on, and anybody else who can appear, please do so.
Yeah.
Ed, you're always just so articulate, so thoughtful. I learn from you every time you open your mouth.
Let us give ourselves like a 10-minute or 15-minute time horizon or limit, and then let's just do the roundtable and then give people a little bit of time to get to the gala.
And let's remind everybody that to get to the gala, they do have to go off this, but not yet, and then go on the Cadence Zoom. They have to just go to their schedule. If they're logged into Cadence, and it'll tell them exactly how to get to the gala, or they will also be getting a notification on their email. And again, they'll go immediately to the gala because as you said, Zan, we want to see them, and that's how we're able to see them, and they're able to speak up. So that makes a very big difference.
One of the pitfalls of working in all geographies of the world is that you're never actually off. So evening times are Asian calls. So I'm gonna miss the I will miss the gala tonight. I didn't know if I was just popping back on because there was an immediate follow up to that panel or not. That's why I came back. I couldn't figure it out from the links.
Oh, we're glad you are back.
Yeah. But Dan, I just want to also mention, I don't know if anybody's given you any positive feedback, but the video tours of Harper's Ferry were really wonderful. First of all, they were extremely heartfelt, and you could tell that you absolutely love this region of the country and this place, and your connection to the history and your knowledge of the history was just it rang through. It was incredible. I don't know whether the Chamber of Commerce has any agreement with you, but they absolutely owe you. The videography was tremendous. It was really they were really enjoyable, and I learned a lot. And it's funny, I'll just tell you a little personal quick vignette that some very good friends of ours who live in near Charlottesville, Virginia. We've always been looking for a place to meet them, over a weekend, and we've sort of put down a hold for the pandemic. And my friend said, "You got to come to Harper's Ferry." And I said, as a dyed-in-the-wool Northeasterner, well, I think I heard of that, but what is it? And so we started a whole, so I'd actually done my own independent research on Harper's Ferry and had learned quite a bit about it when I saw your video tour. So I just wanted to tell you that, it was really.
Well, that means the world to me, and I really hope that you will visit early and often.
Yeah.
And true, I was made to look a lot better than I actually was.
Well, the scenery was so beautiful in the background
that distracts from the coast. But it is great material, and it's a unique place. I hope that we will not be coming back here next year, because we really need to get together in person. But
I hope you will maintain a hybrid structure. I know those are not easy to do.
We plan to do that.
But you guys have really pulled this off. I mean, listen, with all the technical glitches that we all have with all of these meetings, you have fewer. The thing just runs on time. It runs smoothly. The energy that you folks bring to this, I have never seen at any meeting. It's remarkable. You must be exhausted, but it just is tremendous. It's a tremendous undertaking. It's really highly valued,
So we're pretty elated, actually. Thank you so much, Ed. It energizes us a lot because A couple of times Zan said it's a labor of love. You have no idea. It really is.
Mhm.
A
Oh,
labor
I
of
do.
love.
I do, Adrian. I do.
You do.
And
Yeah.
Ed, you've been part of that. I mean, you've given so much of your time. Gosh darn, you are a busy person. And you just, from the beginning, going back to London, you have
Yeah.
been just an amazing part of it.
Well, thank you, and thank you for the opportunity. It's been great. So I might join for a little bit of the so how is it going to work? There's the gala at 6, or is there, or okay, because you're not going to do any little follow-up conversation with the board.
I wanted to bring people, be a taskmaster here. We have an assignment on the agenda, which is to be a town hall to discuss a wrap up of the conference. And I don't know, maybe some take homes and maybe some aspirations for the next year. Zam, not to put you on the spot, but I think we owe a few such observations in this session.
Well, first of all, I think we made a lot of progress on multiple fronts. So we've just seen one front, and that is the much harder haul after a product is approved, a regulated product. And I've said it often that it's fairly easy to get a drug approved, but to take it to highest and best use is something even more difficult. And what Ed and his panel were doing in the last session is just one example in moving us along. That it was a very diverse panel, and so gosh darn, but it was good to have the new and the older folks and the new technologies and the established technologies. It was a great mix. But I think there are a couple of themes, and I mentioned one that we've got to come back to next year on that front. Then, and I'm going to stop here just by saying that the regulatory panel, I think, was remarkably productive. It got FDA engaged. I mean, obviously we just had 3 FDAers, but Ed, you were part of that, made it very meaningful and helped to translate. We've got to push FDA along. I think they are pushable, but they're going to need help. They're going to need our help. They're going to need help from Congress. And we've already heard from Jamie Raskin that he wants to be a part of that. We're talking to other offices. So that's another front that is starting to move indirectly because of our gathering today. And so I'll just pause there, and Thomas, back and over to you and Adrian.
Sure. I mean, I have some very concrete wishes for next year, and I think we can accomplish them. I'm going to start actually with tomorrow. Don't forget that we do have a full day tomorrow, and it starts with a beautifully conceived a session that Thomas came up with, and that is this intergenerationalism. How can we enthuse younger people in any field? And we're going to have some of the top people in the field of aging and science speaking about longevity and healthy longevity, and seeing it as their issue too, not an old person's issue, because that's a new kind of narrative we have to have. That starts tomorrow. Second part of the day.
Before you move on, can I just comment on that? There are a couple of motivating observations. One is that a lot of the folks involved in the Metabesity planning tend to be baby boomers or older folks. And it really ought to be something that's of concern for all generations. So that's observation number one. Number two, it so happens that we have examples in our space of people who picked up this passion very early. You remember Laura Deming at precocious age 12 or 14 in Cynthia Kenyon's lab, et cetera, and dropping out of MIT, that kind of stuff. James Pear, whom you saw in the last session, picked up, it was a McKinsey, I don't want to say wunderkind and embarrass him, but we have people, Alex, who a decade and a half ago picked up this interest in beating aging somehow. So it's an interesting combination where we need to get the younger folks. The second point, though, is that we're going to reach, I don't know, 1,000 folks with this conference, and in the viewing of the recordings, maybe 10,000. But when you see Jamie Metzel, who's going to moderate tomorrow's session, when he did his One Shared World and he got to 1 million viewers in 1 year and 3 million viewers in 2 years, I'd love to see that kind of mobilization. And how can we do that is another theme of tomorrow's session. Sorry, back to you, Adrian.
Well, once again, the second part of the day is an investor day. where we're going to have our own conception of the Shark Tank. I happen to love that show. And we talked today about commercialization. So these are startup companies with three of the most astute investors being moderators. And we
Dennis
hope
Purcell
Dennis
starting.
Purcell, Sonia
Okay.
Arison of Capital 100 Plus, and we're going to have Phil Newman, who was actually our moderator last year on this. He's back and he's very enthused about this, and he's the editor-in-chief of Longevity Technology. So next year, I'm hoping that we'll have even more investors, an even more robust panel, and a couple of standalone days for this kind of Shark Tank investor, what we call the Emerging Company Showcase. So that's something we're already doing that we're going to just improve and make even more robust next year. And the last thing is you guys. This is an opportunity this year to see what you put on the feed, what you put on the chat room, and really analyze it, step back after the conference, analyze it, see what you're looking to learn, add those kinds of sessions. We've added a few new sessions this time, and make this really your conference. And as Zan said, take a look at the campus all year long and see what you're talking to each other about. And that's going to inform us as to the best way we can deliver information to you guys.
That's right. And if we do anything, we do form a community here. We've had that all through these 3 going on 4 days. And we hope that we will continue it throughout the year until we come back together. One of the great things, though, is that we do break down these barriers, and it's quite remarkable. We had 2 high-powered scientific sessions on Monday, and we had one person who we purposely put in both as kind of a bridge builder, Laura Niederhofen. And the point is, they all kind of came around in a way to some of the same themes, but they don't work together. They don't read the same journals. They use the same laboratory equipment, and they look at the same pathways, same animal models, but it's really quite remarkable, these silos that we're in. But we have the opportunity here to be an integrated community that doesn't just cross-fertilize across scientific lines, but starts to understand, each of us, what we need to know beyond our own little field. The regulatory, commercial, societal aspects that ultimately, to be successful, whatever your role is, as a scientist or a decision maker, you need to know. You really need to have some kind of understanding of the complete range of issues that we face in trying to develop products that are going to keep people healthier longer.
And I think I saw change from last year. I think that our presenters, some of them were the same presenters, were talking to each other in a different way. Part of it was Zan's a new and unique way of creating these sessions. So they weren't just talking head sessions. They were all interactive, what Thomas likes to call a salon. So they couldn't really use jargon, because even if they were geroscientists, even that close a relationship, they might be in different worlds. So they were talking in ways that everybody could understand. It was a more accessible type of thing, I think, because of the way it was structured. Do you agree with that, Thomas?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I also love the connections that are being made. I mean, in the have we reached a tipping point? You had Victor Zhao kind of looking across the tiles, the Hollywood squares at Sergey Young, and saying, gee, we've been talking to governments and scientists. You guys are bringing in, investors into it. And Margareta is going, she's active in a variety of different countries and with insurers and so forth. So that making those kinds of connections are gold to us. We're gratified, and we want to create an environment where that kind of crosstalk can be maximized, because we think that's how progress can be accelerated.
Yeah, and boy, what a terrific panel that was. As you say, it was a Hollywood squares of really outstanding experts and decision makers. And with that kind of gathering, you really develop a lot of energy and momentum and understanding. I think we all walked away with a much better understanding of the ecology that we're working in. I want to say though, the scientific panel that just blew me away, and I saw it before in that webinar we did, was the one on mitochondria. Gosh darn. Doug Wallace is just
living national treasure.
He is, and I think he needs the ticket to Stockholm. It's just such elegant work. And then you saw Hazel Zetto build so beautifully on top of that. I mean, she's taking the next step.
For day one session.
Yeah, and she was great in day one. But the point is, you've got these just amazing scientists talking to each other and giving us the pleasure of seeing the fruits of their labor and what can really have a fairly immediate impact on moving the needle.
I love the fireside chats. I will just say that, Dr. Topol.
Well, you were marvelous today, I have to say, Adrian. You were terrific with
Ken
Ken
Dykewald's
Dykewald.
Thank you.
You just about outdid Ken. I hope he won't. He may.
I'm such a fan. I'm a groupie.
You're a fangirl.
I'm a Ken Dykewald groupie.
But Ed's
Yeah.
making a good point that you cannot get into the other room without getting off this one. So
Yeah.
let's
Yes.
So
wrap
why
up.
don't we wrap up? I've had my say. Go ahead, Adrian. Thomas.
I just want you to come back to the gala because I put on my nice sparkly, and you get yourself a glass of wine and come back, and you cannot believe the fun we're going to have. This is not one of those dreary, we have an online magician. No, this is magic of a different order. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
Equivalent of karaoke, virtual karaoke. Just kidding. I want you not only to come back to the gala, but to come back next year. So please block off October 10 to the 13th, 2022. We seem to have settled on a tradition of starting on Columbus Day. See, somehow it could be a little bit easier to get government people to come on a federal holiday here in the US. I don't know. And we certainly want you to come back. We haven't announced the location, but I'm kind of leaning to lobbying for Washington, DC. And it would be a combination, a hybrid. We'll certainly make it available for folks around the globe as well, but we'd love to see as many of you in person as possible. The virtual format allows us to do lots of things that we couldn't do in a physical format, but there's really no substitute for most of the speakers and the attendees dedicating several days together, listening to each other's sessions. There's a cumulative effect. And I just encourage you all to come back, and we'll see you next year.
All right. Well, look, we want to see you tomorrow, by
Right.
the way. But we are
Tonight and tomorrow, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll see you in a few minutes, I hope, and of course tomorrow as well.
Paris would be nice. All right.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm in.
All right.
We'll see you in a few minutes.
All
Take
right.
care.
Thank you so much.